Schmo with the head honcho of Xtreme Couture. He's now the head coach of the UFC, middleweight champion of the world, Eric Nicksick in the flesh, back in Las Vegas. How we doing?
Are we in Las Vegas? Because I'm jet lagged as all could be, brother. I don't even know where I'm at right now.
Well, listen, man, you never stop. The grind never stops with you. The Schmo saw you get in work inside the cage with Kai Kamaka. He's got a big Bellator 300 fight coming up. The grind never stops for you, Eric.
Man, so hit the ground running, right? We have Daniel Zellhuber this week, Danny Ige next week, and then it's Kai Kamaka October 7th. So, hey, man, you can't complain about having a full plate when the whole goal is to eat. So I'm happy, man. I love my team. I love my guys, and they just energize me to be back.
No such thing as jet lagged for you. But how was that first class plane ticket provided by Sean Strickland on the way back from Australia?
In his defense, he tried, but they were sold out. So I got Premium Plus. But I was able to fly first class on the way out. They took care of me on that. So, yeah, if you're going to go to Australia, try to get a first class lay down seat. If you can afford it, get it because it's well worth it.
Well, Sean Strickland's already been inside the gym, but he already broke the belt. Did you see he had to use some duct tape with that thing?
Yeah. When he came in and showed the belt, he kind of threw it on the ground, left it on the ground, and a little rhinestone or whatever came off of it. So Sean Strickland did the typical Sean Strickland thing, and that was duct tape and put it on the belt. So that's our guy.
But talk to the Schmo for a second. It's one of the biggest title upsets in UFC history, maybe middleweight history for sure. But listen, Sean Strickland was able to impose his will, do the game plan, back up Izzy, be able to create the angles he wanted, cut off the cage time, nullified the leg kicks in the first round. What do you attribute the most amount of success for why he got his hand raised over there in Australia?
I mean, this is a typical styles make matchup scenario, to be honest with you. So, yes, he might have been the underdog on the books and everybody else, but the people that believed in him the most were the people in this gym, and his team. So we understand, like Chris Curtis has been saying this. Everybody that sparred this guy tells you it's different when you're in there with him. You just don't understand the style and the pace that he has. It's basic. I get that. It's not flashy, but it is just smothering. So, credit goes to Sean, man. This is the way he fights. This is his style. All we did as coaches was just kind of brush some things up, try to keep some P's and Q's in line and everything else. But all the while, man, this has always been this guy's style, and I think that's particularly it. Styles make the matchup.
And so many people obviously picked Izzy to be and still, but obviously that's not the case. He only threw those leg kicks in the first round. Sean was able to check it. Why do you think we didn't see a lot of leg kicks out of Izzy when everybody assumed that would be part of the game plan to chop up those legs?
I mean, that was, I think, what we worked primarily the most on, and a lot of that credit goes to my guy, Danny Davis. We used Danny's length, his size. Danny was putting on the shin pads, and when we were working the pads, I mean, that was it. Danny was kicking this dude left and right. So we made it a priority to start training our eyes in ways where we were checking kicks, because that was the first thing that I was worried about, where I thought their advantages was they're going to try to attack our lead leg due to our stances. So our foot is bladed to the inside, which automatically gives access to that calf. Especially if you get over to the lead side and create an angle, it's very hard to check. So what we had to do is a couple little footwork things, but moreover, we had to be available to get our shin over to that side to check it 1 or 2 times. That's all we told Sean. It doesn't have to be checked every time, but when you're trying to calf kick somebody, you're kicking with basically your foot or that curve of inside your ankle. So if we can check it 1 or 2 times, it's going to hurt like hell. And that's all we needed to do. And when he started checking him, guess what? He didn't want to kick it as much, right? So that was the deterrent. Hey, get 1 or 2 checks in there and he was going to get away from it. And then we smother him.
What was going through your mind in the first round when Sean dropped him and then he was able to pile on him and get those punches in bunches? What was going through your mind in that moment?
Nothing. Honest to God, like, if we can get video review, I didn't even move. I just stood there and watched. And I was telling Anik yesterday, I looked over at Anik and Megan O'Leary and the whole desk, and I just was watching their reaction, because at that moment, there's nothing to coach, right? I'm not going to scream. I'm not going to do anything. He can't hear me. If it's a finish, it's a finish. It's right at the end of the round. So primarily, I wanted to stay composed because I knew if it was going to go into the second round, I needed to be calm to give the right information to him going into round 2, because there was some things that I was seeing in round 1 that I felt Izzy was setting us up for. And that was my main concern. I didn't want to get lost in this whole crazy moment because there was a piece of information he needed to hear out of the defensive side of things that actually Izzy told me after the fight. He's like, man, you saved your boy's life because I was setting them up and you called it. Like Izzy told me that straight up. He's like, bro, you called what I was about to throw. And that to me in that moment was the most important part. Like, hey, if we get a finish, it's over. I don't care. We'll celebrate. But right now, if we're too focused on this and we get too high, I'm going to miss out on this whole thing and I'm going to get scatterbrained.
What was that conversation like with Izzy and Sean and you and the team afterwards?
Izzy was speaking about his dog tattooed on his neck or something. I don't know. Like, I mean, he was being sincere. He was being, a true champion. He was passing the crown over, but it was I don't know. It was kind of this weird back and forth, but it was all class. Izzy was just referring to something or someone that was very close to him that he felt Sean was disrespecting, and it wasn't. It's just Sean being Sean. But at the end of the day, the hand raise moment and the moment that Sean and Izzy had, I thought was pretty cool.
So what do you think is next for Sean Strickland? Let's put all the politics of the company aside. The Schmo knows you guys will take any fight the UFC offers, but who's most deserving? Is it the rematch with Izzy? Is it Adrikas Duplessis? Is it a Cannonier who weighed in? Or is it a winner of Apollo Costa and Khamzat Chimaev?
Man, I got to say, like, obviously whatever they're going to do, they're going to do. But I got to say Jared Cannonier for a number of reasons. Number one, he did beat us. It might have been a split decision, but on that record, we got beat. And I think there was things that we didn't do correctly in that fight that caused us to lose that fight. And I called Coach Crouch this week and I said, man, I was so impressed with Jared, Rob, the coach that was out there, Emerson, and just their professionalism that all fight week long. They came prepared. They came, with an opportunity in mind. It's not easy to travel halfway across the world and not know if you're ever going to be able to fight. You're there as an alternate. You have one job to do, and that's to make weight. But you also have to stay ready. You have to keep your mind in that game, And a lot of people don't know this, man. Like it was very possible Sean could have got pulled from that card. You know what I mean? There was a lot of stuff behind the scenes that was going on. So
with the visa stuff, the passport,
everything. Even when we showed up, like some of Sean's antics, the customs had him, locked up for a couple hours. So my point to this whole situation is I feel what Jared Cannonier has done, his body of work, what he's shown in his last few fights. I think he's the fight that you have to at least consider him as your number one. Of course, Izzy, does he get an immediate rematch? I don't know. I mean, maybe, I guess I don't mind that fight. I think, that's a bigger money fight if you're going to talk politics and business. But if you're talking ethics, I think Jared Cannonier is the guy that deserves that more than anybody because of what he's done for the company and just the type of person he is.
Fair play. And then maybe you do as a number one contender fight, you do Izzy and Adrikas, the fight that everybody wanted to see, and you put it as the co-main on the same card.
I mean, dude, you're the matchmaker now, Schmo. I think that's a good call. Let's do it. I think that's a great call, right?
Hey, can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong. But, at the end of the day, man, like even Eugene and these guys are saying that the fight game stops for no one. So if they're ready, let's go. Let's keep going. Sean came out of this basically uninjured, right? His toe got hurt, that was it. So, if he wants to get one more in before the end of the year, whatever, we're ready to go.
Not that they're equals or anything like that, but listen, let's talk about ethics. If they do give Izzy the rematch, they got to give Aljo the rematch against Suga Sean then, do they?
Come on, man, for sure. Like, look, this guy defended the belt, did everything he was supposed to do, was arguably everybody talking about the greatest bantamweight, right? The GOAT of bantamweight. He loses his fight, and then, it was... Look, I thought the stoppage was a little early, but I'm not taking anything away from Sugar. I'm a fucking huge Tim Welch fan, man. That's my boy. I'm happy for those guys. But I still feel like just out of respect to Aljo, he deserves that rematch. He should get that rematch. It's just things aren't always consistent when it comes to, the UFC and the way they do things. But hey, that's their business. They can run it the way they want.
Well, life is good over here at Xtreme Couture. What else is new with you? Because the grind never stops.
I mean, honestly, bro, it was just nice to be home. Just nice to be home, see my family, get back to work. We have so many big fights coming up, and it's important not to ride the highs too high and the lows too low. You start buying into all the stuff, you read all this stuff. Man, we could have very easily been on the opposite side of that, that narrative. So, man, just stay humble, keep your head down, keep grinding. I live by that motto. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm grinding, because the next fight is just equally as important for the next man up. Daniel Zahuber's fight is a title fight for him in his heart, right? So it's just important to be back in here, man. Keep that grind, because as one of the leaders here in the gym, it's important to kind of set that standard because everybody else sees that standard, right? So, hopefully that the rising tide raises all ships, and man, we're winning some big fights here. There's a lot of good things going on at Xtreme Couture.
But does this Schmoment rank among the Mount Rushmore Schmoments for Eric Nicksick and Xtreme Couture in the history so far?
You would say it would have to, man. I'm just, honest to God, I'm blessed to say that there's more than one moment. There's fighters or coaches that never get the opportunity to even corner a title fight and to win some, and to have some of these belts is it's such a cool moment. This one's very different for me from a human element. Sean the fighter is one thing, but Sean the human being is different. So it's, as a coach, it's just nice to be able to help kind of shepherd this guy in a position where he realizes his full potential. That was something we said in the back before he walked out. It was just very unsure. Like, I could feel his energy, and I looked at him. I said, "Hey, bro, we're gonna win this fight, and you got to believe it as much as I do." And he said that. He said, "Man, after the fight, he's like, I didn't believe it, and then I saw how much you believed in me, and it made me believe in myself." So that's all we care about, man. Like, we surround ourselves with people that sometimes you don't feel your best that day. You got to be around people that pick you up and then bring you up. And if you're this lone wolf outlier and all you have is sometimes it could be your own demise. So I'm just proud of him, man. He put himself in a situation that, he found people that care about him, and, this is the result.
That's why you're the cream of the crop and you're getting the flowers. Can we get a final message for all the Eric Nicksick fans out there worldwide?
Jet lag is real. Real life. I wish I had something better, dude, but my brain isn't even working right now. So, but I love you guys and all your support. You guys have been, absolutely the real ones over the years. The one and only Xtreme Couture Gym of the Year 2020, first and last, right?
The one and only, the one that there will ever be. Well deserved.
Thank you, brother. Thank you guys for coming in and see me.
He's the pro. I'm the Schmo. Xtreme Couture world champions. We're out.